everyone, welcome to writing vlog number 5. Right now there's been a lot going on in the month of June, and the biggest change right now has been that I have actually been working with a developmental editor, and it has been a crazy 2 weeks just starting off with her. That it's been completely life-changing in the sense of how I have been doing all of my writing in the last 22, 23 years that I have been working on this project. If you're new here, my name is Meg. I am doing a fantasy romance, or a romantasy, if you will, and this is something that I have been working on since my freshman year of high school in 2003, and I have been on and off with this project since then, having kids, going through a marriage, a divorce, another marriage, and moving across the country. It has been probably the biggest, most rewarding project that I've ever worked on, and I have a love-hate relationship with it. But ever since I had my last kiddo, if you've watched any of my other previous videos, you'll know that I have been trying to get this completely in motion since I had my last kiddo in August of 2023. So now that we're here and things are going great, we're actually making a lot of progress. I did go to the Las Vegas Writers Convention back in April, and I met my developmental editor there. She is wonderful, and she has been giving me so many eye-opening tips and little nuggets here and there that have absolutely transformed the writing that I am doing right now. And I can't elaborate on everything because it's been so one-on-one, but if you're ever considering a developmental editor and you are, whether you're an indie publisher or you are wanting to indie publish, or you are wanting to go the traditional route, they are worth the investment. I cannot stress that enough. And she is phenomenal. So it's incredible. So with that being said, I do have some notes. I have them written down here so that way I can keep up with it, because we have been so busy and life has been going so fast this summer. That I just wanted to make sure that I could keep up with it for this vlog. So one of the things right now that I'm working on with this edit is that I am about 45,000 words out of 80, which is my goal currently, and I am trying to get to about 80,000. That is my overall endpoint, hoping, fingers crossed, to get to by August 1st. I have to keep a very steady pace now that I am working with her and have signed contracts and everything. It is going to require a lot of sitting down and just staying focused and making sure that the work gets done. I don't know if it's an advantage or not. I have written on this story in first person and third person, back to first person, back to third person, which is where I'm currently settled in. It just felt right for what I'm wanting to do. I have written and scraped and reshaped and all the words that you can think of for writing right now for this thing, where I've picked it apart and rewritten it so many times that I'm in a place that I know where I want to take it for the majority. And ever since I started working with her and she is helping me, it has just brought everything out. So right now we're trying to prep to get this finished, this last draft, and then I'm going to go through my own round of just some really good edits and polishing that after the end of July, because I should be done with it by the end of July. August is where I'm going to go through and do all of my cleanup, and then I have to have it to her in September, which it is a ways off, but at the same time, I feel like every week is only a couple of days now, so it's going really, really, really quick. And if you guys are writing and you either have a day job or you're running a business or you have your own kids, you know, like the days can feel really, really long, but then when you get to a Friday or you get to the weekend, you're like, man, this went kind of quick. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I'm having to stay on top of that pace. I run a photography business here in Las Vegas. I have 5 kids, a zoo of pets at home. And then with it being summer break at the moment right now, it has just been an absolute blur. So we're trying to keep up with all of that. Another thing that I am actually working on right now for everything for the book is that once it's in her hands, she should have it for most of September, maybe a little bit into October, and then I'll get a written report back on all the things that are suggested for changes and all the other details and things that what she's thinking, and we'll go back and forth and work on it until probably the end of the year. And then I make a decision if I need to do another round of editing with her, if there's anything that's still missing or needs a little bit more development. And if it still feels good, then what we're probably going to end up doing is rest over the holiday so that way we can stay sane, and then get to the point where in the new year, have everything prepped and ready, do one more read through it, and then start preparing to query. I am going to the Las Vegas Writers Convention again in April. So fingers crossed that we are prepared and ready for that in the spring. But I am currently researching how to properly do query letters and also different areas to look for agents. So I am going the traditional route, and right now I'm just trying to put every little step that I can in a row so that way I know exactly how to approach everything. So if you have queried and you've been in the trenches before, as they say, or you have any suggestions or tips, please comment below and let me know, because this is something that I'm actively starting to research now for the first of 2026, which seems really crazy since we're just in the middle of summer, but time's gonna fly. So I might as well go ahead and research it as best as can. All right, so aside from the querying and all the stuff that I've currently mentioned, the other thing that I really wanted to just talk about with getting to work with a developmental editor over the last couple of weeks now is that it has been such an eye-opening experience with her, getting to really dive into the psychology of the book. And if you're writing a story right now and you've got a lot of characters, a lot of world building, a lot of different things like your magic systems and a romance plot, you got all these different things going on. One of the areas that really was surprising to me was working through the psychology of your characters. So like, what's their biggest fear? And what is driving them, like deep down, to make them do what they're doing? Do they have choices? Do they have things that would paralyze them? All of these little teeny questions on a much larger scale are areas that we have been working on. And it was actually quite surprising because I thought I knew my characters, like, they would be one of my kids. But when she started asking some of these questions, I was like, oh man, like what would my characters do for this? My female main character, her name is Nikki, and my main male character, protagonist in my story is named Draven. So you're gonna hear me talk about Nikki and Draven quite a bit. This is kind of the first time I've revealed these names. I'm working through a lot of their psychology and things that are making them tick. How are their personalities? What would they do in certain situations? And really picking it apart and like whittling it down and refining it. And so that has been such a fun experience to get to pick apart and really look at them. And I keep telling my husband, I feel like, I probably would sound crazy if I was out somewhere and somebody didn't know that I was actually writing a book, because I keep telling him like, oh yeah, I kind of, was sitting there thinking about like, what if I said this to her? Or what if I said this to him? Like, what would somebody on the outside not knowing think if I'm like, oh yeah, she said this, and I was thinking about this and this is what he would said. It almost sounds like I'm talking to voices in my head, which I guess in a way when you're a writer, it kind of is, but with this, it has been a really cool exercise to really sit down and almost interview them when you're thinking about it, and if you type it out or you're writing, whatever you prefer. Really getting a magnifying glass, God, I can't talk today, getting a magnifying glass on them to really see how they would react in certain situations. And is it realistic, or are they just gonna, I guess, push over and glide over certain things that somebody else might be like, oh no, that's not gonna work, So that's been a huge, huge part. One of the big things for my book too, it's gonna be very character driven. There's obviously going to be a ton of plot and plotting and structure in that sense right there. But I really want this to be a character driven story, not necessarily a plot-driven story. I want them to make their own choices, not react to just what's happening. So that was another big note that her and I were discussing recently, and having a character-driven story was very important to me. All right, I am going to put together a video down the road on making this encyclopedia for you guys, so that way you can kind of pull from that and adjust it to however you see fit to help you organize your writing. So that way, as you are getting through the meat of everything, or you are creating a series, it will keep you on the same track. That way you're not missing any notes and anything else like that. It's super helpful, and I've been doing it for years. So anyhow, I will be back. I'm going to go make dinner, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a writing sprint, and then I will catch up tonight and let you know where I finish off for the evening and what we're going to work on for the following video. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys in a little bit. Hi guys, so we are actually 2 days later instead of that night from whenever I originally had started the vlog, and I ended up not coming back later that evening only because we just got really hectic that night after dinner and I needed a rest day yesterday. So I ended up not coming back and videoing anything because it was a little overwhelming. And then yesterday we just had a lot of stuff going on. So 2 days later we are back on here. So to keep the second half of all of this super short, right now I am trying to hit a goal of 55K on my word count by this Sunday, only because I am now going into week 3 with my editor, and I have a deadline of August 1st that I have to hit in order to be able to go through all of the edits that I have to do before it has to be turned into her on September 1st. So I just had a meeting with her yesterday, very briefly, and we were going over kind of what pace I was on. And it seems right now that we're doing okay. I'm keeping things pretty consistent. It's just making sure that I don't fall off of that momentum right now. So yeah, Sunday seems like it is going to come up really quick, and with a lot of stuff already happening this week, with summer school starting back up for one of my kids and then another one finishing out their GED, there's a lot of stuff that is just boom, one after another. So I'm trying to get all of that done. And on top of everything too, it was recommended that we start discussing and outlining book number 2, which it feels crazy to even say that out loud, but there's so much that needs to be merged from book 1 into book 2 right now to make sure that it's cohesive. And that way I actually have some kind of momentum going with that as well. So looking at my notes here, yeah, book number 2, I actually have to start thinking about all of that. So that's going to be something that I will be working on fully once she gets the manuscript, but we're just getting the skeleton. So what else? I don't know if any of you guys do like Spotify for your characters or for specific scenes whenever you're writing it out, but I found that having some kind of music or theme going on with it has definitely helped get my head into that space that I need to make sure that the vibe is going the right way. And if you have any suggestions on like really good Spotify, like pre-done, I can't even think of the word right now, having pre-done music lists and everything for like what you like to write with, definitely throw me a suggestion in the comments, because I'm kind of trying to piece together some stuff and I typically listen to like the same thing over and over again. So yeah, kind of want to see what everyone else listens to. What else? Right now, one of my other goals that I'm trying to do before the end of July is consolidate all of the notes that I currently have for what we've been working on. And that would be everything from backstory, notes, character bios, and then there's a lot of new plot details that have come together over the last 3 weeks with her and I going back and forth. And I don't have them all in one concise, file or however you guys end up putting all your stuff together. I have a million sticky notes like mentioned before, so right now I'm just trying to make sure that I can get everything, keep it organized, so that when we worked on book 2, it will make sense. So that's something right now also that I'm working on. And overall, I guess along with everything too that I'm trying to keep up with is making sure that every week we're hitting at least 5K on my word count, along with keeping up with the notes and everything else, so that way we can hit that August 1st deadline. So it's early, and I'm not used to being up super early, and I don't know if you can tell, I'm wiped out right now. So anyways, if you've made it this far, leave me a sun emoji at the end of, if you comment, and let me know like what you think and what you're working on, and if you have a system that you like to use for all of your character development and organization and everything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. It is 9:45 in the morning, and I have been up since 6 and didn't go to bed until like 3:30 the night before. So I am feeling pretty crispy right now. So I am going to go ahead and go. But if you made it this far, leave me a comment and let me know what you're working on. And I'm going to try to also update this upcoming weekend on Sunday, just so that way I can give the number count and where I'm at. I'm trying to have that accountability right now. But thanks for watching and hanging out with me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.